Hi, Sarah. My name is Riley. Welcome. It is so nice to meet you. I look forward to getting to know you throughout these sessions. Before we get started, I do want to cover some legal things with you. So we're just going to go ahead and start off with anything you say here is going to be confidential unless you tell me that you are going to intend to kill yourself or someone else. Or if you tell me that a minor elderly person or otherwise an incapacitated person is being harmed, and then I will have to report that for their protection and for yours as well. Additionally, if you give me written permission to release information, or if I am ever court ordered by a judge, I would also have to testify. In all of these situations, I would only share what is necessary. These are most likely not likely, but I do have to disclose them. As a reminder, I am a graduate level intern within the state of Hawaii, and my supervisor's name is Brandon Wild. He can be reached at brandonwild@therapy.com or 928-287-0123, and you can contact him at any point if you have any questions or concerns. Did you have any questions about the limitations of confidentiality? Do you have any questions about the paperwork you signed?
No, I think that sounds good. I don't think I have any questions at this time. And I'll let you know if anything comes up.
All right, awesome. Well, thank you so much for reviewing that important legal information with me. So we're going to go ahead and get started. What would you like to talk about today?
Honestly, I feel like I've just been having a really difficult time in my relationship. My boyfriend and I have been together for almost 4 years, but I would say over the last couple months, I've been feeling like my needs aren't really being met. I've also been having a pretty tough time trying to set some boundaries with him. And as I kind of sit here and share with you, why I came to counseling, I'm kind of also feeling like maybe he doesn't necessarily value our relationship as much as I do.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, I can see how difficult this has been for you. You mentioning that you've been with your boyfriend for about 4 years now, and that you feel like your needs aren't being met. Even setting boundaries is difficult to do. I feel like I am understanding what you mean by that you're not feeling like the same value that he's putting into your relationship. And it does sound like it sounds like you feel like your partner doesn't appreciate you or have some concerns about your security in the relationship. Do you mind, can you elaborate on what your partner is doing to make you not feel valued?
Yeah, I think you definitely are right. That kind of explains how I've been feeling. Um, I guess what's going on is that I kind of feel like maybe he wants to break up or maybe he wants to end the relationship because I've just been noticing that he's not really prioritizing spending any time with me. He gets off of work and he either goes straight to his Xbox or he's hanging out with the boys. Um, and my love language is quality time. And we really haven't spent hardly any quality time together lately.
Hmm.
Um, I've really not addressed this to him at all because I've been a little bit scared because of how he might potentially respond. But I'm trying my hardest to just kind of work through these concerns on my own and act like everything's fine. But I don't think that that's really helping me right now, and I think it's making things more difficult.
Yeah, I understand how that can be a very tricky situation to be in, especially with you saying that your boyfriend has just usually comes home, and then just goes straight to his Xbox, or maybe he'll eat dinner and then go hang out with his friends, and he's just not making enough time for you, enough to make you feel loved. You did mention that it was one of your love languages,
Mhm.
that quality time is one of your love languages, and that you haven't been getting much of that lately. And also that you've been too scared to address this concern because you're afraid of the response that you may get from him. So I understand where you're coming from. And I was gonna ask you if you could provide a time when you had a negative experience in past relationships that you have that this has contributed to this fear of having difficult conversations.
Yeah, I mean, I think you kind of nailed it. I definitely am avoiding this conversation. In my past relationship, um, there had been a couple of times where I addressed that I felt like my needs weren't being met and I was trying to be open and honest. And the response that I had got from him was that I was being too needy and that I was asking for too much and that I wasn't recognizing or appreciating any of the effort that he was putting in and how he was contributing to the relationship. And so when I think about having a conversation with my now boyfriend, I feel super anxious, but at the same time, I know that I deserve to have these answers. I deserve to, express my needs and my wants and just overall deserve to feel secure in my relationship too and not feel like he has one foot out the door.
Mm. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. I'm sorry that this has caused you a lot of anxiety, especially with the way that he's been treating you. I definitely don't think that is fair at all. I can definitely see how that type of response would generate a fear of those difficult conversations. While this situation does seem to have maybe feeling you left like conflicted a little bit because you're feeling anxious, stressed, overwhelmed. Maybe you're overthinking quite a bit. Maybe you feel like you're overthinking.
Mhm.
Um, and versus, oh, I know my worth and I know what I worthy of like being addressed by in a relationship. So I'm just glad to hear that you know your state of worth. And as the session does continue, we can both navigate this concern together as a team. I appreciate you taking the first step into counseling and with us. And I know it can probably feel really intimidating coming in and talking to a complete stranger. So I just want to make sure that you're doing okay. How did you feel about this first session?
Honestly, I did really feel intimidated about coming to counseling again, probably from the second that I, set this appointment up to the time that I got into your office. But after meeting with you and having this first session, I definitely do feel a lot more comfortable. I have gone to counseling on and off in the past, but I had felt at the time that the counselor didn't really care about what I was struggling with. So I was pretty hesitant to open up and be vulnerable. And because of that, I didn't feel like I was going to make any progress. But after meeting with you today, I feel safe and I feel like my experience has been validated and I just really feel heard. And I can tell that this time around, it's going to be a different and better experience for me after meeting you.
Yeah. I'm really sorry to hear about your past experience. I don't think anyone should go through that. I'm glad to hear that you feel comfortable in our session. Did you have any questions for me today, or was there anything else that you may have wanted to address before the end of the session?
No, I think we covered a good amount of stuff for the first session today, and I really look forward to picking up where we left off when I see you next. And I really just want to thank you again for your time and for being so welcoming.
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much for coming in today. I look forward to seeing you next week. Bye.
Bye, see you next week.